wouldn't have an additional question. That's why we say specific evidence, and it has to be sufficient. Not one piece, two pieces. Now, on the LEAP test, when you start getting into 3 and 4 and 5 pieces of evidence, it starts getting too lengthy. It starts getting too long. And you start losing people. They don't finish reading it. Think about when you look at an article. Are you more likely to finish an article if it's short or long?
Short.
Short. Yep, exactly. Because once you start getting into length, kind of how I'm just boring you to death right now, then you start getting into length, you start losing your reader. You're going to be short and concise and to the point. Appropriate and sufficient. Now, when we talk about scientific evidence, it talks about observations. Give me an example of an observation that you could make. Maya?
When you're looking at something and you notice that it's round or it's smaller than
Okay, very good. Mitchell? She said the same thing. Okay, so when we're doing an experiment and you perform the experiment, what do? Just sit back and close your eyes? No, you observe what happens with the experiment. Then, once the experiment comes to an end and you have your data, you have your information that you were performing an experiment to get, that is what you observe. That is what you pull from that experiment, and that is the proof that you can use. All right, reasoning. In my personal opinion, take it for what you will, reasoning is the most difficult part of a CER. I can make a claim all day long, I'm sure you can too, and you can find evidence, but reasoning your evidence is what is difficult. For example, if I'm making a claim, and I come over here and I find a book that is evidence for my claim. This is my evidence. All right, well, I walked over here and I look, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I mean, you've got like 12 different books to choose from. And I chose this piece of evidence, this book. But I've got to verbally explain or verbally write or verbally reason why I chose this evidence, why I chose this book. I don't know, it's difficult. You make decisions all day long about different things, whether it's what you want to eat, or if you went up to a vending machine, why did you choose this snack and not a different snack? Why did I choose this book instead of these other books? What, Maya? Yes, and it's difficult for you to put into words why you did what you did. Your brain just does it. It automatically does it. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Oh, awesome. All right, so we're going to skip the rebuttal part of this because you're not going to put that on the LEAP test. So we're skipping through the rebuttal and we're going to move on to a sample CER. Okay, everyone thinks this is kind of funny. Maybe. All right, the claim. Mr. Jones is a mean teacher. All right, so there's a claim. There's your statement. Is it a question or is it a statement?
It's a statement.
Statement. All right, so our evidence. Here's our evidence. Some students say so. Some parents say so. He raises his voice. He makes students come in for lunch detention. He always yells at students, makes a kid cry. They did a survey. Okay, there's all these pieces of evidence why he's a mean teacher. Reasoning. So, what makes us think that he's a mean teacher? You provided evidence, okay, but is he really a mean person? Okay, if he's making students come in for lunch detention.
That's what it means.
Okay, but or is he just doing his job?
He made somebody cry.
Okay, made somebody cry. Okay, what if that person's just overly sensitive?
Then that's their fault.
Okay, so it doesn't necessarily make him a mean teacher. Perfect, okay? So, reasoning. Now, the reasoning that scientists discovered a gene. Remind me what a gene is.
The thing you get your parents.
Very good.
And yeah.
Excellent. Genetics, something you get from your parents, is passed down. Okay, so this gene only possessed by 5'5" or shorter. Who's shorter than 5'5" in here?
I'm 5'5".
Alright, so listen up, this is for you. So the gene causes these individuals to maintain an unhappy, argumentative, condescending, and malicious personality. Do we think that's true? You think you're grouchy? Okay, so you're young. Think about older people. Okay, older people who are short. Are they usually grouchy?
Yes.
They usually have an attitude problem.
Yes. Miss Foster.
Okay, have you ever heard of the name calling? Don't go name calling. Have you ever heard of the saying, little man syndrome or short man syndrome?
Yes.
Okay. It usually refers to a man. Okay, so this man is 5'5", and it's likely that this gene would explain his personality. Okay, so you went from taking evidence that might or might not prove your claim, kind of like Janae said, it was the other person's fault for crying, doesn't necessarily make him mean. But now you're reasoning it out, saying that he possibly possesses this gene, and this gene does this, and it causes this, and the overall effect is he's a mean teacher. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So did it provide more proof for your claim?
Yes, ma'am.
Not really.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Yes.
No.
It gave details. Very good. You gave an observation and you gave details. Excellent.